Well, for those of you that are watching for the first time, this is the Engine Room chat. This is an opportunity for the community to engage directly with Bearlike, the game lead for Mechabellum. Every time we do this, I go on Reddit, I go on my YouTube channel, and I ask the question, what do you want to know? And usually I get a ton of questions. And this time I think we have over 60 questions. So I was able to filter them. Some of them were a little repetitive, so I came up. We condensed that to just under 3 sheets. And the purpose of this Engine on Top is for gamers, both new and old, to learn more about what's happening behind the scenes, what are some of the big, exciting new things that are coming up down in the pipeline, and also how Bearlike is doing. Because this is really the only meaningful opportunity that we get to see Bearlike, in his comfort zone and engaging with the audience. So also, if you're in the chat and have a burning question, feel free to type that in, and we'll try to address them.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe I'll jump in instead of the official questions. Maybe I'll just jump in on a quick vibe check on what is happening in Mechabellum right now in terms of this meta or just anything in general, because we recently released the April meta report on the official Mechabellum channel. So for those of you who haven't seen it, go to the Mechabellum YouTube channel, check it out. I think Rooster did a great summary about what's happening in April. And in that video, he mentioned, the Hound is a tricky unit that has gone through some big nerfs and big balance changes. And then the Abyss is on the other end of the spectrum, who is also a tricky unit that is in dire need of an upgrade. So, Baron, give us your take on both units, the Hound and the Abyss.
Yeah, I think after the most recent update, the Hound gets buffed and the Hound gets nerfed, the Abyss gets buffed. I think after that, and also we buffed Arclight. After that, I think both units are feeling like pretty balanced right now. I was just talking to the chat about how that this patch actually, this version actually feels relatively balanced, and all kind of strategy have their position in the game, and it feels like kind of balanced, pretty balanced, this patch. And the Abyss, I have seen some Abyss play in the past 2 days, and myself is playing Abyss, and I think I lost 300 MMR playing Abyss. Then from yesterday to today, I climbed it back by still playing Abyss. So I finally climbed from 17K to nearly 2.1K by playing Abyss. So I feel Abyss is in a pretty good spot now. Hound still feels strong, but nowadays I think Arclight can have now. I think Hound and Arclight all have their own position in the game. There's potential. I would like to do some more balance regarding of Hound, but on May 22nd, the new unit Void Eye gonna be here. Just when we finally have a relatively balanced game, balanced disruptor is gonna come into the game. The Void Eye is a 100 supply unit. There are Void Eye openings too, and it also can turn into air unit, so it's gonna change the meta of the game like a lot. So I guess we're just gonna enjoy the relatively balanced state as long as we can, and on May 22nd, everything gonna go to unbalanced once again.
The chaos mode again.
Yeah, gotta go to chaos again.
Well, let's talk more about the void. So first of all, we know it is a 100 supply unit. So this is like a chaff unit, and this is great because we love chaff units. However, is this a chaff in the sense that crawlers and fans are chaff, or is it a chaff in the sense that hounds is a chaff? So the difference is crawlers and fans almost exclusively cannon fodders, where the hound can actually be used as a carry. I mean, technically, fans can also be used as a carry, but we haven't seen carry fans these days. I haven't seen it ever. So Void Eye, is that a cannon fodder only, or is that more of a carry potential?
It actually is semi-chaff. It actually have less model than Hound. So it's all for every squad. There's only 3 models in them, but it have multiple chaff each tag. For example, it have a shield, like a wasp. Also, this is the most controversial tag on the test server. It have a EMP armor, meaning whoever attacks the Void Eye gets EMP'd.
Oh, that does sound controversial. So
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. I have a range Arclight and a Void Eye at the front, and then Arclight shoots the Void Eye, and then the range gets disabled, and then the crawler runs full. Is that the scenario that I'm thinking that will work here?
Yeah, it's like we have like Arclight with EMP shooting Void Eye with EMP armor, and both get EMP'd.
Nice.
It's very chaotic.
Well, now I understand. Now I understand what you meant by the chaos patch, because there's definitely strategies that we can do. I mean, I'd love to pick your brain more on the Void Eye, but I think we should leave some room for the content creators. We don't want to spit all the beats on the engine and chat.
Yeah.
Speaking of the next big update, which you mentioned is on May 22nd, I remember about 2 episodes ago when on our engine room chat, we talked about completing the unit roster, or we're very close to completing the unit roster. So Bearlike, after Void Eye, is Void Eye the final unit of the official Mechabellum roster, or are you still actively working beyond Void Eye in the short-term feature?
Well, I wouldn't say Void Eye is the final unit of Mechabellum, but after Void Eye, we will shift our focus on something else other than adding new units. There are still new units we are designing, experimenting, and all that stuff, but I think we need to like stop for a while, stop adding new unit into the game for a while, so we can have a better sense of the whole picture. Right now, there are already 30 after the addition of Void Eye. There gonna be 30 units in the game, not counting Death Nail and the Mountain that are only available in 4-player brawl. So 30 units is already allowed, and it's actually the new player are already beginning to struggling with all those units, and also I think all the 30 units actually covered most roles in the game that we can think of. So Void Eye is the one unit I really want to add before we shift our focus on something else. So in the near future, Void Eye gonna be the last new unit. So in season 4, we are not adding new unit into the game. Instead, we are adding something much different into the game. we are adding some buildings to the map, on the map, and it potentially can change Mechabellum in a very big way, and I think it will change I hope it will change Mechabellum for the good. But it is a very big change, and it is a pretty risky change. So we will try to do it gently, and not by like gradually adding buildings onto the map and experimenting what kind of building works best for the game. But I think for the foreseeable future, a lot of our development resource will be spent on all the buildings. I think it's gonna take us months, several months to have it all balanced and all fun. It's gonna take us some time. So in the first near future, after Void, I don't think there will be a new unit. But we are doing overhaul to existing unit, and we are adding new tag to existing units.
Okay, that's big news. First of all, when you say buildings, are we looking at the devices but just bigger, or are we actually looking at a building mechanic, like a base construction mechanic?
The current iteration is that they are pre-made buildings on the map. You cannot construct them; they are just part of the map, and you can't really like interact with them. You can't upgrade them. It's just kind of acting like terrain. But like some buildings are cannons, some buildings are machine guns, some buildings are factories that manufacture units, and some buildings are just walls, like protect certain areas. All that stuff. Those are all like the current iteration is like the player cannot build them. They are just existing on the map, and you have to think about how you would utilize them and how you would like destroy enemy buildings. That's what we have right now, but it may change in the next 2 months. It may change. We are still experimenting. We are still testing all that stuff.
This is great because I've got multiple questions this week. Well, of players asking for an expansion of maps and also terrain features on the map. So I guess my next follow-up question regarding these buildings is, are they going to be map associated? So a certain map will only have certain buildings, or is there sort of a two-layer? So every map to have a same set of the buildings.
Can you repeat the question?
So
I was having internet issues.
Yeah. For the buildings, are they specific to the map, or can they be applied to all maps? So let's say the cannon building that you were talking about, is that only specific to a certain map, or can every map potentially have cannon buildings?
Right now we are not sure. I think right now all the maps actually just all cosmetic. So we are not tying the buildings to a specific map, and right now, but we may like for certain map to have a certain themed buildings. But right now, no. Right now, all the buildings are independent from the map. So if you are in the grassland map, you can have the cannon building, and if you are in the testing ground map, you can still have the building. So right now, the building is independent from the map, but we may form some link in the future.
Nice. All right. And last question regarding buildings: does the building apply for all game modes? 1v1, 2v2 free for all?
Yes, I would like it to act like that. It may not be in free for all. I'm not sure yet. We haven't tested the building in free for all, but we have tested it in 1v1 and 2v2s. I think if we can get all of them in all different modes, that is for the best. But we may take baby steps at first and only adding buildings to certain mode at first, and gradually expand the idea.
Nice. Well, that's very exciting to hear. Look forward to learning more about the buildings. And speaking of free-for-all, so far we've talked about buildings, and that's all more for the PvP side of the game. Is there any thoughts on expanding the PvE side of the game? Maybe, so right now PvE we have survival, and we also kind of have free-for-all because of the AI. But is there any thoughts on expanding that area?
Yeah, I have always think there's a bigger potential for PvE content in Mechabellum, but right now we are still struggling of the features we would like to add to the PvP side of the game. So they are like the buildings, like the new units. We are still focusing our resources on the PvP side of the game. But I would like in the future, once we have the PvP side of the game more stable, I would like to put some resource into the PvE part. But right now we are not actively working on PvE content. It just has to be some future, we may do it in the future.
Okay. Well, now back to PvP. Are there any new plans for new game modes? For example, 3-player free-for-all, so 1v1v1, or maybe some type of single lane 2v2. So instead of left-right, we have everybody, kind of clump up together in a long map. That sort of ideas.
Yeah, let me tell you the truth. We have all kinds of plans flying in the office all the time, and we scrap the plans all the time. And so right now our newest plan is adding buildings to the map. So that actually puts all the other plans to pause. And we like the idea that adding new mode to the PvP side of the game, but I think we won't add any new mode until we get the building part working perfectly. After we somehow balanced all the buildings, we will look into the other part of the game. I think the buildings have a potential to be very useful in different game modes. In both PvP and PvE mode, we can use buildings to tell certain story and create certain strategy, all that stuff. But I think it have a potential. So we have to see how the buildings go, and then we can re-evaluate all the other plans we have.
Speaking of all the other plans, last time I think at the Steel versus Mobile Force event, maybe that you mentioned there may be non-mechanical units coming to Mechabellum. So I want to follow up on that real quick. What can you tell us about that future? I think back then you mentioned it was maybe season 5 that it is coming, but I don't know, it might be too early. Tell us what you can. No pressure.
We have just finished one of the models of those units I have mentioned before, and we haven't moved into the balance the unit part, which we have made it looks cool. But how would it fit into the game? We are not sure yet. But it looks cool. It looks cool. It looks it's nice. It's nice. It feels nice to have something other than Mac in the game. It feels refreshing. It looks cool. It have cool powers, but how would it fit into the game? We are still working on it. Mm-hmm. And with I'm repeating myself. The building stuff definitely disrupt our plans. Like a lot of stuff just has to wait until we get the building part figured out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now that we have a variety being added into the game, so not just mechs, but also buildings and also potential non-mech units, what are your thoughts about expanding the lore of Mechabellum?
Yeah, the lore of Mechabellum is like we have someone like the lore actually is like a pretty we have a pretty comprehensive lore. The explaining all the stuff, all that stuff, their story, their character, all that stuff. But it's just a skeleton of a lore, and we have someone like actively writing about the lore and all the stories, all that stuff. So we are working on it, but the part where it became tricky is how should we tell the lore, show the lore to the players. Right. I do not want to like just dump
not a wiki.
I don't want to dump a wiki or just like a 100 word, 100 page of TXTs to the players. I will want to somehow tell the story inside Mechabellum. We haven't found good way to do it. And also it will require a lot of translations. So it's gonna be a lot of work, and we haven't figured it out yet. The law itself is progressing like very nicely, but I always feels like we may need an entire PvE mode to tell the law, but some other people on my team are having other thought about how should we tell the law to everybody. So we are still discussing like how can we tell a good story. Or the like for example the StarCraft 2 campaign. That's just that's awesome campaign. That's really good. I don't think we can achieve as awesome as the StarCraft 2 campaign. So it's I think making a StarCraft 2 campaign like PvE mode is like really hard.
Especially so making it good. Like it has to be cinematic. The story has to make sense. It needs to have stakes in the characters, and that's like a whole thing.
Yeah. It's like you have varieties of different missions through the entire campaign, different upgrades, all that stuff. Even just like set aside of the story part of the campaign, the mechanic of the whole campaign is like very interesting and very engaging. So we as a small team, we have to find a way that suit for our team to tell the story of Mechabellum, and that's gonna require some research and require some thinking find a way that is suitable for game reviewer to tell the Mechabellum story.
For sure. I think there may be a beautiful opportunity of merging some of the lore with the onboarding experience of Mechabellum, of the tutorials. So make the tutorials into a mini campaign and then injecting some of this lore and the background information behind specific units. And these can be modular in the future. For example, if you want to have certain stories for Vulcan Marksman, for example. I don't know the lore yet, but I'm assuming those two are best friends, right? Then you can have a modular campaign. It's just the best buddy journey of Vulcan Marksman, right? I think something like that could be very interesting. Just tossing ideas at you.
Yeah, I would like to do something like that in future, but I just we haven't first formed the expertise on telling engaging stories through levels and tutorials. If we have the ability to do that, I would definitely want to do something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep that in mind. And I'm sure now that you've said it, I'm sure people will be even more active, because I've definitely seen posts on Reddit from time to time of people making suggestions on either lore or the onboarding. So I think this is a good direction that we're heading into.
Yeah.
All right.
There are some interesting laws behind all the Mechabellum units.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a rough deadline maybe to see a first draft with the QA team or the internal team?
That's a good question. I have seen first draft, and the person who are working on the lore actually delivered the first draft to me like a month ago, and then we discussed a lot, and he's working on the second iteration. The thing about the lore is like the team is not native English speaker, so it's gonna be very hard to like translate a draft into English and send invite all the curators, testers to read it. It's gonna, it will be hard to translate all those stuff, because especially since they are still changing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you need any help, I may know a few professional writers, so let me know.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me like get the lore more tight, and we may like look into that kind of
Awesome.
stuff.
Wow. Okay, a lot of new stuff coming down in the future, so super exciting stuff. But let's go back into the present. So there are some unit questions, and then there's some UI questions. So let's start with the unit questions. I have a few units where the community felt like they still need a bit of adjustment. Some of these might be subjective. I'd like to hear your opinions on them. The first question is related to Mustangs. I don't know what's going on with Mustang personally. I didn't feel it's playing any different, but I have seen more posts in the last 2 weeks on Reddit of players talking about Mustangs. So how do you feel about Mustangs? And there was a specific suggestion about range nerf. They essentially said Mustangs, they scale too well, and because the range is actually quite decent, that allows them to scale in that direction. So that was the suggestion. But how do you feel about Mustangs in general?
Yeah, I think Mastodon is like one of the most used unit in the game, and it have like a pretty decent win rate. And I think the complaint about Mastodon is valid. So we would like to nerf Mastodon in the future. But right now we don't really know how to nerf it. For example, if we do a range nerf of Mastodon, it will open. It's like not open. It's like the wasp and the new void eye will be very hard to counter if Mustang is like much weaker. So Mustang is like the one unit, although it have a very high peak rate, it don't really get that much complaint. We do have complaint about Mustang, but compared to its very high peak rate, it actually the complaints are not that much. There's a Mustang is the one unit people have a very high tolerance for it. Like, for example, the Raiden. Do you remember when there's a
Yes.
patch Raiden being super good? Yeah. People are very angry about Raiden being like very strong, but when Mustang in a similar situation, actually people have a very high tolerance for that. Like in the past, when we have EMP ammo and the infection ammo for Mustang, Mustang was like even stronger than right now, and even then, like people are still like pretty tolerant against Mustang. I don't really know why, but generally, like I guess people have a soft spot for Mustang in their heart. I'm not sure. But still, the peak rate of Mustang is very high. So maybe a nerf is needed. But I guess part of people have a high tolerance for Mustang is like Mustang acts as some very important counter for managed strategy. If Mustang became like range became much shorter, that fan will be very hard to counter fan, counter wasp, and counter the new void eye. And is that what we really want? I'm not sure. So yeah, I guess after the addition of void eye, we will be able to say how important Mustang are in the game, and we will have an opportunity to tweak Mustang. Yeah, I think after the void eye, we definitely want to look into it. And also, we are trying to change some of the item. Right now, the improved fire control system, that's just too strong, especially on Mustang. So we are also looking into like maybe nerfing the item that is like very good on Mustang to balance it. Like just like we removed EMP ammo. Basically, just because of Mustang, we removed the EMP ammo item. We may like change the other item once again just because of balance issues of Mustang.
Mm-hmm. My personal opinion on Mustang, I think it's more of a knowledge gap. I think at the highest level, I don't usually hear about complaints about Mustangs at all. But for new players, when you're facing with a unit that has many models that deals decent damage and it shoots quite far, it becomes difficult. I think the knowledge gap is the new players haven't figured out how to abuse fire and oil just yet. But once they get there, I think their opinion may change. They
also don't click armor as often as
exactly. The next unit is often paired with the Mustang, and that is the Sabertooth. My understanding is that Sabertooth has recently undergone some changes, yet the community still feels the Sabertooth might be a little bit weak. What's your take on the Sabertooth?
Yeah, I think Sabertooth is a little bit weak right now. It definitely gets better after the attack speed buff. It became like I feel it's like much better. It can fight pretty decently against steel balls and all that stuff. So it's get much better. So, but my biggest fear for Sabertooth is like after the addition of Void Eye, because Void Eye also is a damage dealer in earlier on. Sabertooth gonna have one more unit that actually counters it and also can replace it in certain aspect. So that may make Sabertooth become weaker. But I'm not sure about it yet. But if that happens, then we probably can increase the attack speed of Sabertooth again, or maybe increase its health. There are many there are many like options we have to buff Sabertooth, so I'm not too worried about it, but I would like wait for the Void Eye to see how Void Eye is affecting the meta, how the Void Eye is affecting Sabertooth to decide how we should like change the Sabertooth.
Mm-hmm. And with the introduction of Void Eye, I feel like a lot of these single model units in the early games might suffer a little bit. One of my favorite comps to play is Hound Steel Balls. It's just so good in the early game. Steel Balls are tanky, Hounds goes to chap. You got so many models on the board, right? It's difficult to get rid of all until the Scorpion or a high level Vulcan comes out later on. I feel like Void Eye will make this set of early game even more prominent. There's just tons of small units right at the front. Now, speaking of single model unit, there's another unit that was recently changed, which is the Assault Marksman. It got a damage buff to 50%, and I know it's one of your favorite units. How do you feel about Assault Marksman right now? And now that we've just spoken about Void Eye and Sabertooth, how do you feel it will perform kind of into end of May?
The Assault Marksman is like from the data, the Assault Marksman is not that strong. It is okay. Also, like the majority of Marksman play is not the Assault mode Marksman. It's actually the long range part version of Marksman is like most popular. So Assault Marksman actually don't really work very well with that style. But I do feel like some player is struggling against the Assault Marksman right now. So we may take it again. But I also like I'm repeating myself again. The Void Eye can potentially be a replacement for Marksman in early round, and it can also be a pretty good counter to Assault Marksman. So we need to see how Void Eye gonna impact the whole meta. But right now, the data don't suggest that Assault Marksman being too strong. But I do read posts on Steam and on Reddit, so I know people are complaining about it. So we will look into the data harder to see if it is like too strong in certain situation or something like that. Yeah.
Speaking of Assault, Assault Stormcaller is a really fun unit. We just don't get to play that very often because unlike Assault Scorpion, which is still just the Scorpion, it just happened to move a little faster. Assault Stormcaller turns a unit from a backline role into a frontline role. And the question is, will Assault Stormcaller ever become a permanent technology like the Assault Marksman? Because it changes the unit so much. It's not just a tweak like the Assault Scorpion.
The truth is, I actually likes the idea to add a assault mode to Stormcaller as a tag. I think we may do it when we are like in season 4, where we stop adding new units and we are doing overhaul of existing unit and adding new tech to existing unit, that's probably gonna be the time where we tries to add something like that to Stormcaller. Well, it will be hard to balance, but I think we may do it like in season 4 or season 5.
Nice. That would make me very happy. I love assault storms. Just having the ability to not buy sledgehammers and instead using storms at the front is just fantastic.
Yeah.
2 more units that we've spoken about before that you mentioned are being completely revamped are the Rhino and the Hacker. So wanted to ask you if there's any new updates on those 2 units.
Unfortunately, no. For Rhino and Hacker, we actually see more play of them in the game recently. It surprised me that Rhino actually is more. We are seeing more Rhino in the game, especially with the armor enhancement hike, and Hacker because there's more Rhino, more steel ball, more spiders, and assault marksman. We actually see more Hackers nowadays, but I do think they still need some kind of rework. Right now, what they are waiting is the new building mechanic, especially Rhino. When Rhino was strong, it feels very oppressive. So lots of new players don't really like it. That's why we, after we add the buildings, they can be some kind of defense mechanic, and maybe after the addition of buildings, Rhino became like weaker, and then that's when we can really do a total overhaul and make it stronger. Yeah, we are still waiting for the buildings.
Okay.
Before we can change. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about quality of life improvements. First of all, the undo button is finally coming, May 22nd. So yay. The function is already in many areas of the game. It's just not on live PvP yet, but May 22nd, we're expecting that to make its appearance. Another area of quality of life request is surrounding statistics. So specifically 2 things. One is when you're in game, can we see the grid, or is there a toggle to turn the grid on? And this has been asked many times. First of all, what's your take?
We should add that. There's no question about adding that feature into the game. We just don't. It wasn't on our it wasn't high on our priority list. But I think we will do it eventually. But right now, as you can see, there's new unit and new buildings. We need to do those first, and we will try to improve the try to add more quality of life features into the game.
Yeah,
future season.
Oh, for sure. And then the second
One, and I'm sure you've heard of this before, is the end of game statistics. So after the game ends, what's your most damaged unit? What's the most damage taken? That sort of stuff. So it gives the player a sense of how the play was from his side.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. Especially since all the RTS games have some version of that. That is really helpful, and I do like the idea of that. It's just I think I would imagine it is not that easy to do. That's why I put it. We didn't put any resources into doing it yet. But I do believe the game is becoming more and more stable, especially after the addition of Void Eye. We will stop adding new units, then we can put more resource into doing this kind of feature. But right now, there's just too many other stuff that we need to do first. For example, community tournament support, and new units, new buildings, all that stuff. We need to do that first, and then we will do all those other features.
And speaking of community tournament support, do you have what can you tell us about some specific features, or if you have a rough timeline for that?
Oh yeah, community tournament support is just we want the tournament organizer to first we want to promote community tournaments inside of the game client, so people can say what community tournament is ongoing and what tournament is coming in the future. All that stuff we want to promote all the community tournament inside of the game client. And also we want to give the tournament organizer ability to send a notice to everybody about their tournament, who wins what tournament, what round just start, all that stuff. And the final part is we want make it easier for the tournament organizer to create rooms and invite people for each round of the tournament. We just want make it much easier for the tournament organizer to actually organize tournaments. That's the three part we are working on. Basically, with this, we want to encourage more people doing their own tournament, and we want to make big tournament organizer like Mechabellum make their work easier, and so they can focus more on more important stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Well, happy to hear. Do you have a rough timeline for when that will be coming?
The community tournament support is supposed to come during season 4. I'm not sure if it will come at the start of season 4 or through a mid-season update. I'm just want to reminding everybody the development of a game is kind of chaotic. Stuff happen. So for example, even the buildings, if something can happen and the buildings can be delayed, it's I'm not sure. It's it's not an exact science. So that we are trying to do it with we're just trying to do it as best as we can.
And we appreciate you for that. I mean, I think this Mechabellum is a work of art, and sometimes good art can't be rushed. So we appreciate you for always innovating and always looking out for the players. Last question on UI quality of life, and I also see people posting in the Twitch chat. That is key bindings. This one for me, yes. So the ability to rebind some of your keys so that you can select buildings or you can do certain things faster. For me, I like to have key bindings specifically for when I'm doing recording or when I'm doing replays. Right, so it's just a very useful overall feature.
Yeah, I think key binding is something very useful. I personally don't really use the keyboard when I'm playing Mechabellum. I only use the mouse, but I understand that key binding is very important. I think key binding gonna improve a lot of people's experience. But the thing of key binding is actually to make a good key binding system actually is not that easy. That's why we are not doing it right now. But yes, I have nothing against key binding. We will do it. We have the development resource. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I got three more fun questions. So I got all the important stuff out of the way. Now I got three more fun questions before we wrap up today's episode. The first fun question is, what were some of the favorite text, spells, or features that didn't make it past the drawing board? So you mentioned there was a lot of ideas floating around. What are some of the outrageous idea that you've heard that didn't make it into the game?
Are we counting like the features we added to the game, but we removed it before the?
Yeah, we can count those too, right? Because the hound one comes to mind.
Yeah, I think there's two. One is there was this unit. It is self-explosion unit. It's basically a bigger collar with a rocket mounted on its back, and he sets a bomb and he runs really fast into enemy line and explode. That is one unit we had it in the game, but we later just removed it because it counters the collar too hard, and think like in Mechabellum we only have 2 melee units. If we are not counting Sandworm, it's just only counters Crawler and Rhino, so it becomes not very fun for the game, and just so that's why we removed it, and we gave the self-explode ability to Rhino and also Crawler. Crawler can like acid explosion, I guess. And later we had Spider-Man. Basically, we could split the function of that unit into different other units. That's one unit we removed.
Well, what was that unit called? What was the name of that unit?
Not sure. Early days, we don't really have names for all the units. They all only have numbers. Sometimes we still say it in the office. Like for example, Marksman is number 2, and Walker is number 3, and Martin Park is number 4, and it's confused the new member of the team because they don't really know what we are talking about. So after a while, we stopped doing that. But back then, when we only have 2 developers, all the units actually have a number. We just call it number 1, number 2, number 5. Like Master is number 7. Back then we don't really have names for them. Yeah.
Now that you mention it,
because I'm always in the replay system a lot,
yeah.
And I always wonder, why do you order the units the way that you do in the replay system? Because they're not ordered by their supply, they're not ordered alphabetically. But now that you're mentioning there, then you're ordering the unit system based on the number that you assign to it.
Oh. Yeah,
in the replay, yeah.
Because I was like, every time I go to replay, I'm trying to find that unit, and I can't find it because it's not ordered anyway. And now I understand.
Yeah. This is in the early days. We only have numbers.
Yeah,
they are not. You don't have name. You only get a number. Yeah. That's what the one unit way. And also we have removed some features. Like one big feature is the ability to construct your openings. Like we have a whole system where you can construct what unit you bring onto the board before matchmaking. Like you can like customize your openings, the specialist, the unit, all that stuff, and a certain cost you can only add certain units, certain number of certain units to your opening, all that stuff. Sometimes I wonder if that's the right decision. At the time, it is the right decision because at the time we don't have that much unit. So if everybody can construct their openings, the game feels like there's a lot of mirror matches. Like you have this opening, I also have this opening, and we are just doing exactly the same stuff, and just like sometimes like StarCraft, like terrain against terrain game, like everybody build a marines or something like that. It's like for 5 minutes, everybody's just doing the same thing.
2 racks, bunker rush, every game.
Yeah. That's when we decided like maybe letting player construct the opening is not a good idea. But back then we only have 10 units. Now we have 30 units, and there's a lot of counter, and also we have like a lot of more specialists compared to back then. So it is potentially, maybe it's potentially okay for players to construct their openings, and we won't have that many mirrors. I'm not sure if we ever gonna bring that feature back. It's gonna be a very risky move. So maybe we bring it back as some weekend event.
I think like so, like a fun thing, because there's definitely a strong meta in opening specialists and opening packs. So if you let people choose them, I mean, everybody's going to get quick supply, sledgehammer with prowlers, right? I mean, that's what I would choose. I don't know. Next question. Where does your team get inspirations from for new unit designs? We've seen an extremely diverse unit design, from military vehicles to animals to insects to ancient gods. Like, how do you get your ideas from? Or maybe let's phrase it this way. Who is usually the person that comes up with the idea and say, hey, why don't we do a flying squid that, and then later on it's going to become this?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think our team, everybody is coming with all kind of ideas. I will admit most of the idea of new unit is coming from me. But I think other people, like everybody contributes. Like at the early stage, the team just don't have other people, so most of the idea is coming from me. But for others, later there's more people joining the team, and everybody contributes. Like for example, the Abyss, the flying Titan. It actually is because we.
We might have lost Bearlike.
It's not just harvester, and then you might need that harvester.
No, we're back. We're back.
Oh, okay, right back. Okay, I'm not sure how much you.
I missed about 15 seconds.
Okay, so I was saying like the earlier idea is from me, but later more people join in the team, and everybody contributes. Our team, sometimes they just draw cool stuff, and later the designers find a way to add all those cool arts into the game. And sometimes it a new idea of the new unit come from the design team. They want something for balanced reasons to be added to the game, and the art team find a way to make it look cool. And I was just saying, like the Abyss, the Flying Titan Abyss, it's just because we saw the Doom and we like the Harkonnen Harvester, Spice Harvester. It looks very cool. And we also like the Harkonnen flying ships, all that stuff. It's like so we were just talking about the movie, and later when we need a Flying Titan, we just remember that the Harkonnen design. So we just somehow like take inspiration from that. So the unit actually looks a little bit like the Harkonnen Harvester, but yeah. But it's still different. Yeah.
No, for sure. And that explains the swarm missile, because I remember there was a specific scene where the missile is coming down. Yeah. This is very good.
Yeah. That's we were when we were watching we were like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But so we didn't add the tag immediately. It's like after like 8 months. 8 months have passed, we remember that cool missile, so we add it in.
Nice. All right, last question. Is there any secret meta strategies that the internal team may know and play that is not very common? Something that has a very high win rate.
You mean a secret high win rate strategy nobody knows?
Yes, and just so maybe we'll set it for the MMR. Maybe we'll set it for like the lower MMR, like the 1500 below. Because I feel like once you get to the 2K, there's really no secret. Everybody kind of figures things out very quickly. But for 1500 below, if you want to win your next 5 games directly from Bearlike, what should you do?
Yeah, I want to talk about the overall strategy. For high MMR range, we definitely do not have a secret high win rate strategy. I wish we are that good at the game, that we have something that other players haven't figured it out. But we don't. But like there are many strategies that the team don't really good at, but the high MMR players are very good at. And for low MMR range, basically from what I understand, for low MMR range player, as long as you build high damage stuff, and also you build chaff, you will be like advancing your MMR to a pretty good like 1800. So basically for low MMR range player, they don't really like to build chaff, and they don't really like to build chaff clear. So if you understand to build chaff and build chaff clear, and also build a high damage unit, because in lower MMR range, everybody just be building the high HP units all the time. So if you remember this 3 trick, chaff clear, and high damage, I think you will like reach 1800. At least like 1600. You can reach 1600 just by building chaff and chaff clear and high damage unit. That's it. Just this is a secret. This is a secret. In lower MMR range, everybody wants to build big stuff. So basically, yeah, counter the big stuff, you will win.
The secret jutsu is to buy the good units and click the good buttons.
Right.
What's your favorite chap right now?
What's my favorite champion?
Yes.
My favorite chaff unit. I think deep down inside it actually is fan. Because like back when fan was like much stronger, it is very what was the word? Low IQ strategy. Just build a fan and attack it, and it's pretty comfort. It's like not low IQ, but low energy, low brain energy strategy. Just when you are tired, and you are tired, you don't really want to play into the counter and all that stuff. You just build fan, and when you have enough fan, you just win. But that was the good old days. Nowadays, you can't do that. you do that, you won't win. So, but still, deep down inside, because we have this history, me and the fan. So I still favorite fan as my favorite chaff unit.
Yeah. And what's your favorite chaff there?
My favorite chaff clear. My favorite chaff clear. In reality, I probably play Maston to be I choose Maston most of the time to be the chaff clear unit, but I do like the idea of fire hunt. So yeah, I like the idea of fire hunt, but in reality, I most of the time I just build Maston.
Maston is good. That's why people are complaining.
Yeah, it's also like low energy unit. It counters a lot of stuff. We don't really want to think about it. Just build Maston.
I'm seeing a trend here. I think the way Bearlike plays is he picks the one good unit and he just makes a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
The game is too balanced to do that and win.
You can't abuse. I mean, I still like to see. I think the Phantom Ray, the Ray Master is still spamming Rays.
Yeah.
You know, it's just still very fun. Yeah. Yeah. So
I always like those spam strategy. I know it's not good for the balance, but I try them secretly whenever I have the chance. Like sometimes I just tired. I want to spam stuff.
I love it just for the fun. I have a friendly special that I only use with my friends. For example, one of my friendly special, let's say I start with Arclight Stonecallers. I will put Stonecallers on the line on both sides of in front of the tower. And then I will start mobile beacon them starting at round 2. Depends on where he tries to counter. So these are, and then I'll just keep adding more Stonecallers. It'll never work in a rank match, but because you're doing friendly special and you want to get a lot, it's really good.
Spam is fun.
And that's what I like about this game, right? You can have so many levels of enjoyments because if you are a competitive spirit, then you get so many top ranked players for you to challenge, and they're really good. And the difference between a 2400 and a 2200 is actually quite significant. But if you just want to have fun and you just want to do steep events with your friends and get a laugh out of it, you can do that. I mean, recently in my friend Discord server, we started this game mode that's called no unit unlock game. So essentially, you can only get units from the unit drops or any unit improvement. So if you get the mass-produced fortress, that means you can get a fortress. And this forces the player to focus not just tactically on the board, but strategically, because chaff unit becomes a very prized possession. Anti-air becomes a very prized possession. And we adjust our tech. For example, I run anti-air on tarantulas because sometimes I let tarantula open it, but then I die to no air. So Mechabellum allows you to do all this fun thing, and I think that's a beautiful thing to have in games. It's just bringing players of all different levels of enjoyment and areas of enjoyment together under one platform.
Yeah, we maybe should try like a party mode for just like a weekend or something.
I would love to have some type of rotational weekend experiment on that community can participate. Right, it's kind of like the first-person shooter games. A lot of them have like sniper only mode, right, or melee only mode. Like I love to have these type of mode. I mean, not now. I'm sure this will take a lot of time from actually developing new features, but it would be a cool thing to have in the future. But for now, we can always do self-imposed rules, right? That we can always nobody builds chat, and then we'll see what happens. Or everybody builds only rhinos, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. True.
All right.
That's gonna be fun. Yeah.
And that's all my questions for today. Thank you, Bearlike, very much. And every time we spoke, and you're always you're so generous with your answers. Sometimes I have some of these more difficult questions, right? I don't think it's good answer, and then you jump into a 3 to 5 minute explanation, and I love that. So thank you for making a great game. Thank you for keeping engaged with the community.
And thank you for the awesome podcast. It's like, I have become like a very enjoy. I became like enjoy the podcast a lot. Sometimes I'm looking forward for the podcast like several days before it happens.
Yeah, my pleasure. For this particular episode, what I'll do is I'm actually going to add a summary at the beginning. I know people are busy and sometimes they can stay for the hour-long podcast, but I'll add a summary. I'll give the main points, and we'll post them on YouTube, so you can find them on my channel, Stoney Mechabellem, and hopefully in the future we'll add them all to the official Mechabellem channel as well. I think this is good content. This keeps it's a good line with the development team.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Really, thank you for the podcast. You are doing so much for the game. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll let you get back to your stream and have a good one.
Okay. Yeah.
Prepare your
Bye-bye.
tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.